and trembles, your will be done. A question like thunder rolls over the earth. Isn't anything too hard?
Even in exile, even in despair, even when all seems lost, God hears the cry of his children. Welcome back to Come Listen With Me. I'm Ricky Black, aka Elder Eleazar, and this is our daily reading for Thursday, February 26th of our ongoing 2026 Come Follow Me study of the Old Testament. Before we begin, let's start with just a quick prayer. Father in heaven, we thank thee for this day and for thy unfailing awareness of each of thy children. As we read about Hagar and Ishmael in the wilderness, help us to remember that thou hearest our cries and knowest our afflictions. May we trust that thou wilt provide even when we cannot see the way. In the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, amen. Okay, we have a little to read, a lot to ponder, and a bit to discuss, so let's jump right into it. So today's reading, we are finishing up Genesis chapter 21, it's that back half, verses 8 through 21. And this is where we kind of get this conflict that erupts, right? And we've already seen that there's been some strife between Hagar and Sarah, but it's about to come to a head, right? And it means that Hagar and Ishmael are going to be sent away. And the story follows them into the wilderness, and where God hears, provides, and preserves. And this is a crucial sort of, wide lens day for us here, because the text insists God's attention is not limited to a covenant line. And a few questions to keep in mind so we can read with intention. How does God show compassion to Hagar and Ishmael, even though they had to leave Abraham's household? And then, when have you felt cast out or alone, and how did God provide for you? Finally, what does this account teach about God's awareness of all his children, not just those in the covenant line? First book of Moses, called Genesis chapter 1. Verse 8. And the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast the same day that Isaac was weaned. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar the Egyptian, which she had borne unto Abraham, mocking. Wherefore she said unto Abraham, Cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, even with Isaac. And the thing was very grievous in Abraham's sight because of his son. And God said unto Abraham, Let it not be grievous in the sight because of the lad, and not because of thy bondwoman. In all that Sarah hath said unto thee, hearken unto her voice, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called. And also of the son of the bondwoman I will make a nation, because he is thy seed. And Abraham rose up early in the morning, and took bread and a bottle of water, and gave it unto Hagar, putting it onto her shoulder, and the child, and sent her away. And she departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. And the water was spent in the bottle, and she cast the child under one of the shrubs. And she went and sat her down again over against him a good way off, as if it were a bowshot. For she said, Let me not see the death of the child. And she sat over against him, and lifted up her voice, and wept. And God heard the voice of the lad, and the angel of the God called to Hagar out of heaven, and said unto her, What aileth thee, Hagar? Fear not, for God hath heard the voice of the lad where he is. Arise, lift up the lad, and hold him in thine hand, for I will make him a great nation. And God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water, and she went and filled the bottle with water, and gave the lad drink. And God was with the lad, and he grew and dwelt in the wilderness, and became an archer. And he dwelt in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took him a wife out of the land of Egypt. So that concludes our reading for today. It's a quick little section, but it's a very, very powerful one, right? Because really, Genesis 21 here, it refuses, right, any sort of cramped theology. Hagar is not a footnote. She's a person that God sees, addresses, and sustains. And in a way, the wilderness becomes a sanctuary, right, where God's provision is personal and it's timely, right? He gives what they need when they need it. And it's often not by removing the desert, but by opening eyes to what's already there, right? So think about that. How many times of our life are we in a proverbial desert, right? Some sort of harsh condition. And maybe we don't need God to remove us from it. Maybe that condition is going to shape us into something great. We just need to see what's there to get us through it, to sustain us. And, Ishmael's survival, it matters, right? God keeps promises. Even when family systems fracture and outcomes feel unfair, right? God's still going to be there. And that kind of builds into my takeaway, right? God's covenant work is real. And God's compassion is larger than any covenant boundary that we tend to draw, right? He's going to stick behind it all. If you didn't go and watch my deep dive on Hagar that I put up last week, this is part of that story. I would really recommend go back and watching that one, because we're seeing a story in which God shows that he works with everyone, not just a chosen select people, right? Yes, God's covenant line is going to continue through Isaac, but he made the same sort of covenants with Ishmael, right? So basically his love, his covenant, his compassion is for absolutely everybody. I think it's beautiful. So let me know what you got out of this. Let's keep the conversation going in the comments. What are your insights? And if not, well, I'll see you again here tomorrow as we continue our reading of the Old Testament. But until then, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And as always, I am grateful for the precious time that you have chosen to come listen with me.
You pull a family from the storm. You set a warning in our bones. You teach the righteous how to go. When the sky is iron and the ground is sore. When the night is louder than before. Is anything too hard for the Lord? No. No mercy makes a door.